Hey guys, Lancy here. Hope everyone's doing well. Thanks for joining me while I look into some more MTG market news and also some spoilers at the end of it. We'll also look at some stock market stuff because there's some interesting things going on. So let's get to it. So the first things first, market. So bought back has moved up by about 30% today. Nothing crazy. It's even more than that. It's almost moved up 100%, but I don't know what the reason is. The most recent deck that it points out to is Project Malera. I've never heard of it. You can let me know if it's actually becoming a thing, but I think I have this card just because it has some cool art. Moving on, Flying Carpet from Arabian Nights. So, we talked about these kinds of cards before, not on the reserve list. It is an Arabian Nights card. There is plenty of other printings. I think even some of these have black border. Maybe not, but there is some cool printing out there. You got different editions of this, but this is the only black border one from Arabian Nights, worth almost $100. It's had a huge run up in the last couple of weeks, and the last couple of days have seen a massive buyout. You can see that it's just going straight to the moon. So we'll have to see how this ends. If you already have some, maybe it's time to slowly start unloading it, but up to you. Leech Lord of Yunks. So, impressive card. Last time it spiked was when the undead zombie creatures came out for Amonkhet, I assume. Whatever that Nicol sign was way back in 2017, and now it's spiking up again because obviously we have some very good undead support coming out of Innistrad and the new Innistrad set that's coming out in, I think, spoiler season starting soon. I've heard some rumors from one of my friends that apparently Snapcaster Mage is going to be reprinted, but we'll have to see how that goes. Jando's Ring from Arabian Nights. So, pretty impressive. Another Arabian Nights card not on the reserve list. Printed only in revised edition, but that's 68 cents. This is a black bordered from Arabian Nights, now sitting at $50. Big change. Swords of Plowshare from Secret Lairs. Pretty cool card. Always at a high price point, really did. And now the market's just taking off. You can see the average is sitting at about $15 for TCG. But you can always get this card for about $2. Extremely good commander card. All Hallows Eve. So this card is actually really interesting. You can see that it had the average market price moving up, but then the market price actually caught up with it overall. So in the last couple of days, this has actually been flatlining, but it's already had a huge spike in September 2021. Yeah, $590. I don't know if it's going to come back anytime soon, but we'll have to see. Arcad's Sabbath. Now, this card actually is coming down pretty hard. You can see that it had a bit of a bounce now, but it went from about $100, averaging about $121, to now sitting about $99 to $90. You can get one from TCG Play for $59, but I assume the quality isn't as good. Lignify from Dual Decks Anthology. It's a pretty cool card, really, for green to have a creature removal, pretty much. But is it worth $2? Actually, it probably is worth $1.48. You can get a low one edition for 84 cents. Probably still worth it. Green doesn't get that many creature removals that easily. Wolfbite Captive. Actually, they got a lot of fight mechanics now, so maybe that's a bit different. Wolf-Bitten Captive from Dark Ascension. I have 4 of these copies somewhere, and I don't think they're that good. Now, don't get me wrong, they're a good card, but I just do not like commander decks where you had to take the cards out of their sleeves to flip them. So, it's a lose. Dream Halls from Stronghold. Very interesting buying. Pretty much every time it comes back to a certain point, it gets rebought. And right now, it looks like that's the previous highs. So is it going to come back down to test $59 and then go back up, or $53 and then move back up? Right now it's sitting at $64 from the market price. We'll have to see how that goes. Glory from Judgment. Do I have this card? I feel like I might have this card. Now the reason why I have this card is not because it's old or anything. I just thought it was a cool card. But maybe I'm just imagining I have this. It's not exactly an expensive card. Back in the day, it used to be $1, $1.30. Now it's sitting around about $2.84 to $3. Nothing crazy. Headless Horseman from Legends, not on the reserve list, but it is a Legends card. Now, this card had a huge run up from $1.23 to about $3. Now it's starting to move back down, but you can see the average price is actually moving up. We'll have to see what happens, but these are the kind of cards that can take off, even though they're not on the reserve list. A good quality version of these might be enough of a collector's item and not seen in the last couple of years as being worth it. So now they're moving up instead. Pyrohemia, obviously a very good dinosaur deck for Enrage, but there's probably other decks it can be used in. Now sitting at $7.86, average price is sitting around about $8.53. Moving to, actually, we'll just go to Mtg Goldfish to cover the movements for Standard, Modern, and Pioneer, as those are the ones that actually seem to be catching any bids nowadays. You can see there was a bit of drop for Demi Leech and Ranger class. Pretty good cards, but they did spike a lot. Memory Deluge, Shadow Skull Smashing, Luminarch, Aspirant, all moving over 20% or around 20%. Memory Deluge sitting at 46% gain for the week. Halls of the Storm Giant, Internal Grasp, Mascot Exhibition, Moon Silver Key. That is kind of cool, isn't it? Maybe it is good. It's hard to tell. I think it's good, but I mean, an uncommon card that's sitting at $1.29, it is good. Moving over to Pioneer, you got biggest movers. Nothing really crazy, but you got Teferi, Time Raveler. I mean, Appointed Procession is moving up by 3%, but nothing crazy. Cruel Reality, that's a curse, moving up by 11%. Nope. A Brazen Borrower dropping down by 10% today. Selfless Spirit dropping down by 14%, and asset is $7.67. Arclight Phoenix dropping down by 10%, and asset at $12.58. Once again, not too impressive of a change in that end. And now moving to Modern, you got Mystic Gate, Leech Lord of Unks, Bloodline Keeper, and Lord of the Undead, all moving by 17% or more. Quite impressive for that. Child of Alara even sitting at $26.78. I got a foil one of that. I wonder what that's worth. Hunt Master of the Fells. Now, this is a really cool card, but it got way overbought. Way too much of a spike. I would keep an eye on all of these enemy fetch lands as well. At some point, they're going to hit around about $20, $25. Might be a good time to start picking them up because they are not that bad. In fact, they might even not get down to that level. $30 might be the limit for some of these enemy fetch lands. But we'll have to see. Moving over to the markets before we move on to spoilers. I'm moving all over the place this time, so let me know if you guys want a certain order, and I can try to cover this at least once every couple of days. What is happening? So I'm looking at AUD USD. Now, this is pure technical. And this is where technicals really comes in, but obviously technicals only helps in the short to medium term. Longer term comes into play more inflation fundamentals like what the Federal Reserve does. We can see clearly that this is the 200-day moving average. So that's the white line. You can see that we had a double bottom for the dollar. You can see a very clear head and shoulders for the Australian dollar. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And once it broke the head and shoulders, it started moving up. It broke the previous high pretty easily, and it touched the 200, and it has been drifting down. Now, this is actually a very violent move. If you look at that right now, you can see that that's dropped by almost 1%, which for a currency is a lot. If I go to the 1 hour, you can see that it touches that 200 and immediately sells off. Now, here's the thing. It's right now below. It's 50. It's not 50 day, but it's like a 50, I guess, tab moving average, and it probably could get over it, but it is right now quite heavily sold, and it might have more to the downside. It might come back up to retest 75.12 and then continue dropping back down until it at least tests something around about 0.74 on the AUD to USD scale. You can see that the DXY has also seemingly hit a critical level. Now, it really hasn't. The support, yes, it's hit support of the previous high, 93.5. Its real support is 93.26. And until it hits that, I'm not too sure what the plan is. Moving on to Bitcoin, you can see that Bitcoin has also hit a peak. I actually feel like the way that Bitcoin trades is it doesn't like when the dollar is doing well in most cases. But then again, Bitcoin is also moving on a lot of fundamental and sentiment, the emotions of the market, because Bitcoin is one of those plays which is very emotional. It's very volatile for that exact reason. Right now, what seems to be happening is the inflation play is happening. So dollar's moving up. The US 10-year is moving up. It's probably going to hit 1.7 if we're not careful. That might trigger something. The currencies against the USD are dropping. And you got things that, like, I guess, copper, silver, gold, oil, commodities dropping as well, mainly because they're the ones that are valued in US dollars. Moving on to copper, you can see that's a massive drop. But then again, copper had a massive run up as well, being pretty volatile, and now dropping back down. The 200-day moving average is way below it, so we'll have to see how that goes. Where copper goes, the rest of inflation usually picks up and follows as well. But it's not all bad news for, well, I say it's not all bad news yet for cryptocurrencies, because you can see ADA, Cardano, doing well. It hasn't got a buy yet, but I'm expecting a buy to come online pretty soon if it keeps going at this rate. And Ethereum, beating its all-time previous highs and now settling in quite nicely at a reasonable 2% gain when compared to everything else, which has dropped a lot more. And Shibu looks like it's doing pretty poorly as well. You can have a look at Tesla. Now, I sometimes do paper trading just because I consider it fun. I used to do some real trading and lost a lot more sleep doing that. You can see that Tesla has had a drop after its recent earnings report. Now, its earnings report actually came out to be pretty decent, and you can see that it actually spiked way above its previous channel. It could retest its channel and then take off again. There is no doubt that Tesla is showing a lot of strength, and right now, it doesn't look very bearish, even if its earnings report was not as good. There is also news out there that Tesla is talking to the Indian government to try to get the Indian government to remove some of the import taxes or something, so that selling Teslas in India is cheaper. So yeah, certainly that could be a bigger market for Tesla to go to. So moving on to a completely different direction, the MTG spoilers. Now, I wanted to go to Extra Life, October Super Drop, and Innistrad Crimson Vow. Now, I don't think anything has come out for that. This is Commander stuff for the new set, I think. Yep. And we have got Extra Life. So Extra Life is doing something pretty cool. They got seeing these kids drawings of cards and then the equivalent drawings by professional artists. I think that's cool. You get 6 cards, 2 of each of Muldifra, Craterhoof Behemoth, and Metalwork Colossus. Of these, the real value is the Muldifra and the Craterhoof, and of these, really, the best value is the Craterhoof Behemoth, sitting around about $30 or something, even more than that. So, yeah, 2 printings of it. That is expensive, and probably, I mean, I only have 1 Craterhoof Behemoth. If anyone's been collecting a lot more, this could actually hurt quite a bit for a secret drop. As for the secret drop for Stranger Things, I am okay with it because none of these feel completely broken. You can probably do some okay things. I personally like the fact that they're limiting it to investigate tokens and so on. It's kind of what they do. It's a kind of an investigation, but also sci-fi and fantasy genre. So I think it's an okay way to introduce them. There's nothing super broken about them either. Moving on to Crimson Vow. Now, there really isn't much more. There's, I don't know who that is, but there's Soren, Snapcaster Mage, doesn't really look like it, but there's vampires, werewolves, and humans, and possibly zombies. Didn't really see much of that. So I'm not expecting anything too crazy from this one, but we'll have to see how it goes and see what the spoiler season provides. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one, and see you later.